oftentimes it depends on the state, but oftentimes this is the first time this state issued that. Well, they could have been in another state prior to this and gotten it 10 years ago. Well, that's another one of those reasons why you want to have that application for employment on file to know what their history was prior. If it shows 22, but he's saying he had 15 years of CDL experience, you'll need to validate that before you send it to your insurer.
And you're only liable for what he puts on there, so he misrepresents something other.
But you're supposed to do some due diligence, but yeah, I mean, if
I never think a truck driver would lie to you.
Well, there's first thing money. And I don't want to offend the truck drivers, but a lot of them just don't know. They do not know.
Here's a prime example of that. This person right here is non-accepted intrastate. Non-accepted means they need a med card. Intrastate only haul within state lines. They can't haul logs. They're not set up to haul logs right there. They could work for your municipal. No, not a. Let's see. What would they be? I can't. There's about 6 different things they could do. There's very few things. Yeah, I think for a county they could. I think for the county they could, but anyhow,
they got non-accepted interstate.
There's 4 of them. There's non-accepted interstate, non-accepted intrastate, accepted interstate, and then accepted intrastate. And the 2 that can haul logs are the non-accepted interstate and the accepted intrastate. So anyhow, I just showed that because of that. Let's go to the next one.
You can have an ATV operate on public road with a crash indicator.
Yeah, crash indicated. So he was in an ATV, not in a. People can get DUIs on bicycles. They can get them on tractors. They can get them. However, and it's on boats, lawnmowers, they're going to go on their MVRs.
It's still a DUI.
Yeah, still a DUI.
And there's $0 for commercial license for DUI.
All right, let's see. Right here's, I stuck this one up there. So he's got a valid Class E regular driver's license, but his CDL has been canceled. He's just in Florida. It's just regular. All right, here. So oftentimes these folks will call in and they'll say, so and so's got a clean record, known forever, good guy. Comes back and he's either been suspended for PIP or he's been suspended for child support. Oftentimes the response is not a big deal. Not a big deal. Well, right here, what if he gets involved in an accident on the 10th of January? You are no longer defendable because that attorney's going to say he didn't have a valid CDL.
He's not insured, right?
And let's go through this real quick, and then we'll come back up to the top. Child support, child support, child support. Keep going. Child support. Child support.
39 days.
So anyhow, it shows some of that character, and we need drivers, guys. We need drivers, but we go back up. We dang sure don't need a driver so bad that on the 1st of August, because he wasn't responsible enough to pay. Now we can fix that because we can take the child support out. So if it's just child support, we've got an easy fix for that. We'll take child support out of his check. We'll make sure that gets paid to the state. But if it's PIP, which is a Florida deal, he's paying his personal auto insurance or not paying that, we can't fix that. If he's not going to pay that, he's suspended just the same. It doesn't have a valid driver's license.
He's not going to come in and tell you, I don't have a driver's
And
license.
that's the challenge right there, because if he doesn't have a valid driver's license and he's got a habit of doing that and gets involved in an accident, there's very limited defense, even if it's not y'all's fault. Let's see. Seatbelt not used properly. This just kind of shows some character thing, and I'll let you explain this, but kind of shows some character things. They're going to pull front, the highway patrol and DOT folks, they're gonna pull you over if they see you on your cell phone, or they see you speeding, or they see that you don't have your seatbelt. You're putting a red flag on your truck saying, pull me over, if your drivers aren't doing that.
This is a CDL violation for not wearing a seatbelt. So he really did get a ticket to the warning we were talking about a while ago.
But that means it was either
He ran
a
it
police
down.
department or sheriff's department that gave him that.
Or he ran his mouth and said, "What'd you pull me over for?" Because you didn't have a seatbelt on. Ticket.
But if he had to pay a fine for that, it would not have been on the basics. It wouldn't have showed on the, because they can't give you points and make you pay a fine. So, here's another.
If he gets a fine and don't go pay it, they suspend his license, you won't know about that either.
More than likely.
That's like a real high fine, what is that, it's like $400 in Gator County.
This is just, you got a guy that's got a seatbelt and he's got an improper erratic lane change, not necessarily horrible, but.
This one may or may not be in a commercial vehicle, it doesn't really say. Sometimes it'll say CDL or not, but this one doesn't say. And then he had an accident from that lane
So,
change.
we go back up here, this is a good, so, we've got two violations from the same deal. We've got an improper erratic lane change, and then right below it, we've got a corresponding accident right there. So, it's not that he had two violations, he had one incident that drove both of those things. And then he's got, you kind of see some character issues with this person. Failure to exercise due care, careless, seatbelt, or erratic lane change.
So I actually called this driver and I said, because we didn't know what failure to exercise due care, we didn't have no idea what that was. But I called him and he said, well, I came on a red light too fast, and I didn't get stopped 2 times, and I was sitting there, so he gave him a ticket for failure to due care to the failure to stop or running red light.
So he didn't get stopped in time, did he run the red light or
He was just across the stop line.
and then back up?
He was just across the stop line. But then we checked this driver, but we couldn't get him approved because he got too much stuff, and of course the lawyer's like, I don't really need it. So we checked him with Progressive, they do another background check called a clue report on the driver, and he had 2 other accidents. And at that point we said, maybe he can't drive.
You got a whole lot of those.
That's right.
But that guy I had a couple of years ago with that incident, and I let him go.
I didn't know what you wanted to point
He
out.
hollered every day.
I don't know either.
I mean,
He's got
that's-
60 and 45.
Yeah, that's, so in anything less than 15 miles an hour over the speed limit is a minor speed violation. 15 or over is gonna be a major speed violation. They're viewed very.
And this is almost a year old, so more than likely he could be a first.
Yeah, I would say so.
But we all get tickets.
That's right.
But when underwriting sees a pattern in that, you're gonna
That's-
say exclude that driver,
That's-
I'm not gonna add that driver.
And honestly, that's why we're showing these MVRs, is because some of them you definitely see a pattern. Or oftentimes you'll have a driver that for the last 24 months didn't have anything, but all of a sudden in the last 12 months, from 12 to 36 months there was nothing, and then in the last 6 months or last 12 months they've had 3 different things. There's something going on with that person's life. They're going through a divorce or
Didn't have me
getting
with it.
involved. That's right. There's some kind of issue going on that's changed that driver's behavior, and you're exactly right. It's that pattern that it's really so unlawful use of wireless device. There's one of the reasons you're getting pulled over, driving that CSA score, a serious violation of a commercial vehicle.
That's the day, they suspended his license almost a month after, or more than a month after he got that violation. Cause it'll say the violation date was, 5/24 right here, it says violation was 5/22. It doesn't say it's a commercial violation, and it may or may not be, but
Yeah, well, it does right there.
yeah, it does there.
But not right there. Yeah, so that's the same. And right here it shows that he's eligible to get his CDL back on August 30th.
There'll be a driver available.
License.
I didn't know what this one was. This one's really funny, he does have a valid license, but he's got a bunch of license denials in the state of Georgia, and I don't know.
I asked the motor carrier compliance officer, a friend of mine, she had no idea what that was.
I wonder if that, you know how you've got, in Georgia, if you've got unpaid, they won't issue your license if you.
I don't,
pay a
it's,
fine.
they got a driving without a license, and then they got a speeding ticket down here, but I don't know what that is.
So, you know, when you have cases like that, you gotta do a little more research to figure out.
So here's one where we got a clear MVR, sometimes they'll say MVR is clear, sometimes, passing status clear, downgraded, I don't know what that was.
I think he got downgraded from a CDL to a C.
Yeah.
A class C license.
So he gave up his.
I don't know, right there, it's showing that he's got a A. Cause in Florida. it
This
would
is
show
an
that.
Alabama, this is an Alabama.
Yeah, maybe in it,
There's no telling.
but it's still showing he's non-accepted interstate, so. and
You never know
he's-
about Alabama.
Well, right there, maybe that's what it is, his med cert's expired, so on this one, his med cert's expired, that's why he's downgraded,
We looked at last night.
so. That's right. So 79 and a 55, that's gonna be a serious violation. Excessive speed, 72 and a 55, you got two,
And they also got a volunteer.
If that was in Georgia, that was a super speeder at 79. You got big problems there.
so you got two major speed violations and are following too closely. That's your next, if you're saying, I need this guy, let's stick him on a progressive policy, that's your next accident right there. You're not, and then he's got 26 miles or over. So he's got 3 speed violations and he's following vehicles too closely.
I tell y'all how we get away around that. We govern all our trucks down.
We'll turn the motor truck down.
From CDL.
And that helps when they're,
45.
that helps in, yeah, but when you're going through towns at, 25, 35, 45, if they don't have that right attitude, they're, this is CDLA, valid status, scroll down, please. Non-accepted interstate, just pointing out what we've got right here. This shows that he's got his med card valid through the 3rd of March 23. So you should have an Excel spreadsheet or some kind of monitoring system set up internally so that 30 days out or 60 days out, you're sending that driver, even if it's a couple hours, get one less load, go get your med card taken care of. But this is another one of those deals. This is child support, 10 days. This one right here, I wanted to show you all this. So it was fixing to be suspended on the 25th of April, and it was reinstated on April 5th. So that means that he paid his child support before that license was suspended. He was never suspended, but I did want to point that out, that it'll still show that sometimes. Child support, this is approximately 90 days that he's got it up there. There again, you can fix that piece if you're taking it out for him. Never suspended, 22 days right there. Right here, failed to yield right away, commercial vehicle, crash indicated. You got a guy that's pretty regular getting a suspended license. If he was involved in that crash while that license was suspended, you're not very defendable right there. We got another accident. Is that the same one? Yeah, that's the same one. There's another one where we got the same, an accident and a failure to yield that are all from the same incident.
If you, let me ask something else.
Yes, sir.
I see this trend on the child support thing. So if you got somebody that's got child support, if I'm holding the child support out of their check, that's not gonna happen.
That's right, and that's what I'm shooting.
Somebody not handle my own child support, you need to be concerned about that.
Yes. So,
I never had somebody pay their child support. I actually get this, somebody's coming in to do a job Friday, and before I hired the child support people going, if you pay your Friday, hold some money out of the check.
Well, and that's a piece that's easy to fix, is the child support thing. Cause you can say, I'll take that out. We can go to bat for you, but if you got someone that's allowing their license to be canceled for PIP or for not paying the personal auto insurance. Let's see. Here's a accepted interstate. This guy right here can't haul logs. That's a self-certification in category B. I wanted to show that one, not that there's anything
And then
else.
Russell, like he brought a while ago, he failed to pay a traffic fine.
Failed to pay traffic fine, you'll see, he's got a couple of those on
Suspended
there.
for that.
Yeah, careless driving, crash indicated, not a commercial vehicle, failed to pay traffic fine, it's from that crash right there.
What was a careless driving violation? Because in a couple states, South Carolina, and Florida, that's really a catch-all.
Yeah, so you've got a reckless driving, which is bad, you got a careless driving, and a careless driving could be a DUI, it could be just kinda going over the line, it could be a rolling stop, it could be, it's a catch-all. I mean, it could be super bad, it could be as bad as a DUI, but it could be a minor infraction, so it's worth finding out if you've got that careless, or that person has that careless, finding out what exactly that was, whether you got a ticket or whether you can send some additional information.
He had a fine for that careless driving, he didn't pay it, so he got suspended.
Got suspended. That's right, and he was suspended for about 2 months, right there. He's got a couple of failure pays. Valid CDL, non-accepted interstate, so can go across state lines. Speeding, 15-0. So, major violation, it depends on the day. If it's in the last 12 months, it's gonna be challenging. If it's not, there's a possibility you can explain that away. It helps if you've got a driver coaching program, if you've got a driver monitoring program with those telematics, with that GPS, that you can tell that story to the underwriter and your agent.
So I told you I don't have them MVRs in my files, but y'all ran mine back in December. Right now, it's the middle of the year, it'd be a good time, me just run them on my own right now. And that way you can get something, cause I had a situation where a driver checked out fine, and his personal vehicle ran into a school bus, this is several years back, I didn't know anything about it. It was like he would've told me about it. But he was in Madison, he went to Madison, Georgia, what he did, and, well, anyway, about 2 months later, he went back to Madison. He never showed up. Anyway, they arrested him on the spot. He actually called me to make his bill. So I ain't coming to Madison, but.
The same situation he's talking about. So if we check this driver here on August the 1st, he's fine. Because this violation doesn't show up until he gets convicted on October 14th. And we've had it happen where we've approved somebody, and then the next year we get the MVR, and it's like, holy crap, how'd that happen? Because that's a gap right there. That's why, like Russ said, you need to check every 6 months, or every other month, or whatever, once a quarter.
Once you get a system set up, if you do have an MVR system in-house, it's important to know how often they get their records. Some of them will pull the same records for 6 months, so if you say, hey, I'm gonna pull this record every month, you'll be paying for an MVR that's gonna look the same. So whatever program you do decide to buy into and use, it's very important to know the timeline that they pull, so you don't waste your money.
And there are some MVR vendors out there that will they'll run a soft touch every 30 days, and if there's any changes on that soft touch, then it will send you that update. And there's some folks that like that, there's some folks that don't. We've been seeing this a bunch lately, y'all, and they will hold your driver alongside the road if he's in a manual truck and not let him leave. So he's got a valid CDL. There's nothing wrong with it. No manual transmission equipped CMV. So if he's driving one of your trucks that's a manual transmission, he gets pulled over, he's parked. It is important that you're having that conversation with your agent or the CSR or your driver when you're pulling these MVRs.
These will show on.
He's got an automatic endorsement.
Yeah, I can drive me.
Automatic.
So whenever you take your test, and if you take your test in an automatic, you cannot
next week, and I tell every one of them, you need to get certified in the manual. If you don't, you ain't no truck driver, in my opinion.
All that JD.
And that'll show up on your basic too, as a driver violation.
If you get popped and you've got a manual transmission restriction. So right here, this is going back to what Miss Leslie was saying about, a pattern. We've got a crash on January 25th of 21. We've got another crash on March 1st of 22. We've got a pattern there. We've got a suspension for child support, 3 months.
All right, so what y'all saying right here is y'all profile, I understand.
That's exactly.
Exactly.
It's your driver. You're allowed to discriminate against them. You want the best person behind the wheel of your truck.
Three, 4 months right there.
Because you don't want to be charged with negligent trust. And the problem right there is if you stick with someone in a vehicle that's got, let's say they've got 3 speed violations, and all of a sudden they get involved in a speed-related crash in your vehicle,
You're not covered.
that's punitive.
Your insurance is going up.
No.
No, they're coming after you.
You potentially could be going out of business because that could be a 20 or 30 or $50 million verdict. It becomes
That's why you have to
whenever they prove negligent entrustment, that's punitive, and punitive is not covered by, there's no policy that provides coverage for punitive. And what that means is that you entrusted someone in a dangerous object in a vehicle can cause great bodily harm. You knew, because you're supposed to pull his MVR prior to hiring him or her, what their MVR was. You knew that they were speeders, and you still entrusted them with that dangerous conveyance, and they were involved in a speed-related crash that hurt or killed someone.
And if you say you didn't know because you didn't do that, you're more liable than the person that you hired doing that.
So, I mean, this is all, it's challenging, it makes life difficult, but it's the compliance piece. And if you are doing this stuff correctly, you're so much more defendable should that accident happen, and you're so much more marketable anytime there's another option for you out there.
So here's another driver license with a restriction, he's got correctional lenses. He got to have those on, if he gets pulled over, he doesn't have it.
Doesn't have contacts and or glasses on, so
That's a violation.
we're getting close to being done, guys. Failed the final med cert. So this person right here did not have a valid CDL for 3 days. They may have been in your vehicle, and if they got involved in an accident, then you would not have been very defendable. Here's one right here. This is in Alabama. Alabama in the surrounding states is the only one that I know of that will throw this width, length, weight. That's actually a ticket, so they probably got that in a commercial vehicle. It's Alabama. It will go on your MVRs. If you've got a driver that's got multiple ones of those, you question, was it the driver or was it the company that they were working for? Could have been the company that was pushing that weight. 9 over, so that's not a big deal. It was more about the weight in Alabama that I wanted to show y'all. This person's got a tanker endorsement and a passenger, but no buses yet. Child support, we can be, speed 68 and a 55. Not a big deal. Here's your med card stuff. It shows you when their med card is 72 and a 45, 69 and a 60. That's a major violation, along with that other one. Restrictions right here: no passenger, no Class A school bus, corrective lenses.
That thing comes back and it's 6 or 7 pages long, you probably won't tired.
That shows that
page count thing.
that pattern. That here, clear MVR. This is You know, there again, just because they have a clear MVR doesn't mean they're the right driver for your vehicle. You still need to vet them, make sure they're the right person. Here we go. So expired CDL still has a valid license. He can still drive a service vehicle for y'all. Cannot drive that would be a dump truck or something like that in a B. But and if that's the case, let your CSR, your agent, know that they're only going to be driving a service unit. Valid pending. All right, let's look at this one right here. Valid pending. What's that mean? Well, we've got something that's going to be impacting us at some point. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. What is that? Failed to file med cert. So if he doesn't get his med cert done and filed by September 1st, he's going to be disqualified. Now, his license won't be suspended. His CDL will be disqualified until he gets that done or he re-self-certifies. Yeah, that next card. Just pointing at this commercial motor vehicle. So this was one of those where he will color. So he was either popped by the city PD or McCullough Sheriff's Department in a commercial vehicle.
He pled guilty.
Yeah. Now, here we go, right here. This is something else to look at. Go back up to this guy's age. I didn't even point this out. But Russell, what you were saying, 5 pages. All right, this guy was born in 60. Okay, so he's got a little age on him, but not too much age.
Be careful.
Scroll down.
Be careful.
Born in 60, but he doesn't have a whole bunch of violations showing, but keep scrolling, keep scrolling. That is his 38th violation in his lifetime. So there's maybe he's changed his ways, but that was his 38th violation.
I don't know what other county.
We're almost done. Almost done. This is Illinois. I was showing a different MV. They all look different. Every state looks different when you pull them. So that was Illinois. This is New York. He's revoked and canceled. The reason he's probably revoked and canceled up there is because he's changed his license to Florida. Did I have this right here? I was thinking he's surrendered.
He might have not took the COVID shot at that.
Anyhow, so any questions? Guys, I know this isn't fun stuff. I know it's challenging stuff, but it's important. It's important from a regulatory standpoint, compliance standpoint, but more important from a defendable standpoint, a marketable standpoint in the longevity of your business.
I don't know, everybody in here, we bid Copeland?
Yeah.
Bidco finds out, they pull it several times. I often go, or they pull it during the year. But I've got letters from Bidco that you had a driver, they got a speed violation or a speed warning. And, I know anything about it, of course, driver didn't tell me. And we go through this process where we give them warning, write-ups, and notifications saying that you get another speed violation, you'll be fired. Speed's a big deal. We don't ever know that.
Well, and to that, Team Safe Trucking is out there. It's a great resource. It's something that was put together specifically for our industry. It provides the safety piece. It provides the employee training piece. It provides the remedial piece, and
it's easy to pull up and settle down in there and watch a video.
Keep safety top of mind, guys. Having a safety meeting once a quarter, that's not going to get it done. But if you stay in front of these guys, have a contest with them. Pull a driver scorecard through your telematics vendor and show who's on top, and see where your mean is, and if they can get 5% less than what the mean is in the next 30 days, give them all $50. I mean, have
I
fun.
tell you, our safety bonus that we started really was a big help, big help.
What did you do, Jerry? You mind sharing that with us?
I think it's 50,000 miles without an infraction, it's $300.
I do $100 a month per quarter. They gotta make it whole quarter without a big violation, they have $300.
I mean,
But now if they get one violation, then they lose the whole quarter.
and that,
Cause them to do good, cause if they make 2 months, they don't wanna mess it up.
and some of that is what's the officer gonna do to you, that are they gonna be nitpicky or not? And that's why I like the driver scorecard, but I mean, I think those are both great ideas. I think anything that you do that can promote safe driving, that can promote improved driver behavior, that increases accountability is gonna be significantly beneficial. And furthermore, to the telematics piece, it's not just about having telematics, it's about how to use that data to improve driver behavior, to help your culture, to give yourself a better fleet of drivers.
In an accident, can they use telematics against you? Can they like pull a warrant to get your telematics?
Yes, sir.
It's all discoverable, so.
It is all,
Yeah.
but 100% of the time you're deemed at fault anyways.
We're gonna
And
pay.
based, upon the studies out there, 40 to 80% of the time it was the four-wheeler's fault. So even if it's half of that, 20 to 40% of the time, you've got video evidence, you're gonna get hung. If you're at fault, you're at fault. It's better to know that you're at fault day one, so that the claims department can start trying to settle that claim and, more quickly on your behalf. I can't tell you the number of times 5 years ago that a driver didn't want to admit the fact that he did something wrong, and so he just lied and lied and lied and lied. And 6 months down the road, after everyone spent all this money, all of a sudden he said,
Yeah, we drive it.
I was driving too fast, or it was my fault, or I did whatever. Well, then they pissed off the